So Biden's stormtroopers are not backing down, and in fact, they're leaning into their deference to the dear leader. And this clip here went viral. Whoopi Goldberg on The View. You know, she, of course, is one of the biggest Biden backers, along with Joy Behar. And, I mean, this clip speaks for itself, man. Let's listen, and then we'll discuss.
I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go. Now, he had a bad night the first time that he went out and debated with Kamala Harris. And everybody wanted him to quit then and say, you can't talk to women like this, or you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. He came back, said, you know what, I got it, and gave 4 years. So, yeah, I have poopy days all the time. I step in so much poo you can't even imagine. Now, I'm not running the world, but I don't know anybody who doesn't step in stuff at some point. So I'm just simply saying, there are 2 debates. And if he can't do what he needs to do for the second debate, I'll join any crew that says get rid of him. But loyalty to me, if you are doing the job, I might not like everything you're doing. I don't like it all. But I'm going to stand behind you like those guys stand behind the guy who should have been the person people were talking about saying, yeah, Biden had a bad day, but this guy couldn't tell the truth if it split his lip.
I guess what I don't understand is that we are still in a place where he can step down. Like, we are still in a place where Biden can do the right thing, say, you know, look, I'm dealing with some stuff and I need to step aside and I need to relax. I mean, he already said I need to go to bed by like 8 o'clock as president of the United States. You would think he would realize, like, that sounds horrible for president of the United States, and it's also kind of unacceptable for president of the United States. We're still in a place where you could put enough pressure on him to step down, and then we can have a process to determine who the candidate is. She's not delivering this rant post-convention where he's certified as the nominee and you're locked in. She's not doing that. She's doing it this early, which is sort of like political malpractice and negligence to me, right? Because these are the same people who correctly say Trump is an existential threat and we got to get rid of him. But then you're going into a battle with both arms tied behind your back by staying with Biden. Look, I can understand. In fact, I've made this argument about Bernie Sanders. I've said I would vote for Bernie Sanders' carcass over Donald Trump. You know, I don't care what issues Bernie Sanders has. He represents an agenda. I prefer him over a Republican no matter what. So I understand the argument of like, hey man, it's about the agenda, it's not about the individual. But again, if you care first and foremost about defeating Trump, you would want to put up, at the very least, a better candidate against Trump, who has a better chance of winning, according to the polling, and most importantly, can complete sentences, and we're not sitting there anxious, nervous, holding our breath, listening to every word coming out of his mouth, just waiting for the next train wreck. So it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. Because I think there's going to come a time in the future where people look back at stuff like this, and as absurd as it looks now, it will look straight up evil when we look back 10 years from now at the stuff these people are saying. Quote, I don't care if he pooped his pants or can't put a sentence together. Well, again, her next line is like, he needs to show me he can't do the job if I'm going to turn against him. Well, you just explained away that he can't really do his job. If you're shitting your pants and you can't complete a sentence, there are consequences to that. Whoopi, like, for example, one of my new theories that I floated to you guys is I genuinely and sincerely believe one of the reasons Netanyahu is being as belligerent as he is and as aggressive as he is in Gaza is because he knows nobody's really home mentally anymore with Biden. He's not going to actually stand up to me. There will be no actual consequences for the genocide I'm perpetrating. I don't know if Biden was younger and more vibrant. Let's say 2012 Biden was president and Netanyahu was doing this. At some point, 2012 Biden would have realized how embarrassing and humiliating and disgusting this is for the United States and for his legacy to have his top ally committing a genocide with our money and our weapons. He probably would have pulled the plug. I am sure of it. that if Obama was president right now, he would have pulled the plug on this a long time ago. He would have made clear to Netanyahu, look, you are done, done, done. I've seen too many hospitals bombed, too many schools bombed. The death count is way too high. Who are we? Even Kamala, behind the scenes, has pushed for the administration to be more sympathetic to Palestinians. But Biden, look, when you ooze this weakness and this feebleness, they're gonna fucking walk all over you. And so it actually does affect the job. It does affect the job. She also says, oh, he had a bad night the first time in 2019. Guys, that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Now, granted, look, he was already starting to deal with the beginning of cognitive issues back then. But if you go back and look at the tapes from 2019 and compare them to now, 2019 Biden is a totally different guy. Way more with it than he is right now. He's aged 10 or 15 years in just 4 years. So to pawn it off, oh, he had a bad debate in 2019. Whoopi, you know that's not the same thing. You know it is different now. You know it is worse now. You know the stakes of this are Trump gets back in office. All the things that you rightly fear, well, why don't you want to put up the best candidate, or at least a better candidate, to give us a fighting chance? And then the final thing is, she mentions the second debate there. She's like, look, they'll have a second debate. If he like flubs that one too, then okay. On what planet do you think, oh, he's going to come out in the second debate and suddenly look like, 2012 Biden or 2016 Biden? On what planet do you think that's going to happen? Everybody has dealt with grandparents or parents of, around Biden's age, and you see the progression in the wrong direction, in the scary direction. Everybody's had hey, look, we got to take grandma's car keys here. We don't want to do it, but we kind of have to do it. We're being put in a position where we have no choice. Everybody's seen that. He's not going to magically get better. He's not going to magically get better. And also, it's kind of interesting, right? Because she's slamming the people who want Biden to step down now, but she's also admitting, hey, one more mess up in a second debate and I'll join you. Well, for the love of God, somebody put together a massive compilation for Whoopi Goldberg of the moments from 2019 until today that are very, very concerning moments. Like, remember when Biden said, Jackie, are you here? And Jackie was dead? Remember when he said he had a conversation with Mitterrand, the head of France, and that guy's also dead? Right? I mean, again, I don't know if it's not enough evidence for you now. Maybe it genuinely is the case that there will never be enough evidence for you. And that's kind of wild to me. That's kind of wild because the stakes are as high as people say they are. And they're on board a sinking ship. And they're like, I'm comfortable here. This is fine. Maybe it'll unsink. I don't think it will, man. I don't think it will. By the way, I could make a better argument for Biden than these idiots can, which is kind of sad, right? I mean, again, your argument is, I don't care if he pooped his pants or can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job. Well, you just explained how he wouldn't be able to do the job in that scenario. If you're pooping your pants and you can't put a sentence together, you are incapable of leading and making rational decisions. But if you want to make the argument, obviously the thing you would do is you'd say, forget about the individual. It's about the agenda. And then you list off a bunch of the things that were positive things that the Biden administration did. If you want to make the argument, that's the argument you make. But even if you're making that argument, again, it's something you could make after he's already verified as the nominee. Right now, in this moment, it is dangerous and reckless and irresponsible to make that argument. Because it's not like, hey, it's over, and this is the guy, and we're totally done here, and so I'm not even voting for him. I'm voting against Trump, and I'll explain why. Here's the agenda. Here's all the accomplishments I like. Here's what's going to happen in the second term. At that time, I will understand somebody making that argument, and I understand that perspective. At this moment, it just strikes me as shooting yourself in the foot, or maybe even worse than that, shooting yourself in the fucking foot, shoulder, kneecap, earlobe, etc. So there you have it. These are Biden's loyal foot soldiers. These are the points that they're making. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.